trigger happy. Every year, officers kill about 1,300 people. A vast majority of them are poor and black inhabitants of the favelas. Thousands have also been disappeared. We're on our way to Favela Rocinha to meet with the wife of a man who was disappeared by the police last year. His name was Amarildo, and his story has resonated with many of the protesters in Brazil. His mysterious disappearance at the hands of the police call up memories of Brazil's military dictatorship past. Can you tell me what kind of person Amarildo was like?
Amarildo era pessoa boa na comunidade, nascido e criado, todo mundo conhecia ele. Até hoje as pessoas chegam em cima dele e falam: Beth, nada do Amarildo? Eu falei: nada. A polícia matou e sumiu com restos mortais, sumiram com o corpo. O traficante mata e mostra o corpo. O policial mata e some. Então eu acho que o Estado botou extermínio nas comunidades, porque a ditadura acabou, para os ricos, para os pobres continua. Eu não vi ele levando meu marido, eu não vi ele levando porque eu estava dentro de casa. Cheguei aqui na segunda sede da UPP, meu marido não estava lá de fora, ela estava dentro da UPP, veio o gol bolinha, parou em frente ao UPP, meu marido já saiu com uma gemada para trás. Aí eu parei de polícia e falei assim: vocês trouxeram meu marido por quê? Ele falou assim: não, ele falou assim: você pode ir para casa. Aí o major veio e falou para mim e a família: liberei meu marido, que ele tem nada contra a justiça. Aí vem para casa: cadê o marido? Eu quero isso já há um mês, a marido sem aparecer. Aí foi como, isso aí já foi para redes sociais, para o mundo inteiro. A Rocinha tá aí, tipo assim, o marido sumiu. O que acontece? Aí teve aquele protesto. O mundo todo, a Rocinha inteira compartilhou comigo.
Amarildo's case drew even more people into the streets to join the protests as it fueled the fire of an already volatile population. Brazilians have had enough of the brutal police tactics, and they refuse to be controlled again by a military police state. In order to host the World Cup, FIFA demanded that Brazil go through a huge makeover in terms of security and infrastructure. On the ground in Rio, this translated into a war against drug gangs, but really, it was part of a larger war against the disaffected population in the favelas. But the favelas fought back, killing officers and even shooting down a police helicopter. In the north zone of Rio, just 4 kilometers from the World Cup Stadium, 8,000 families occupied an abandoned telecommunications building. When it came time to clear them out in April this year to make way for the games, the streets erupted in violence. "There will be no cup" has become a rallying cry across the country, resonating especially loudly from within these favelas. And each summary execution at the hands of the police has stoked more hatred towards the government and its grand plans for the rich. It seems the government's only response to this public anger has been to use more force. We went to a hillside slum called Favela Rocinha, one of the largest in Rio, to see how things have changed since the police gained control 2.5 years ago. Pacified in November of 2011, Favela Rocinha is now under 24-hour police surveillance.
Eu me chamo Velf, eu sou rapper, cria da favela da Rocinha, a maior da América Latina. Estamos aqui na entrada da Rua 2. Estou aqui para mostrar para vocês comunidade pacífica, como a gente vive e os reflexos desse projeto do Estado em monitorar e fazer esse campo de concentração, manter a gente sempre monitorado pela polícia.
So I've been walking around Favela da Rocinha, being shown around, being shown what's been happening since the pacification. And we met a young man who doesn't want to be named. He's part of the gangs, and he's going to tell us what's going on. So how do you and the people who live in the favelas feel about the World Cup?
A Copa é até bom que seja no Brasil, mas sendo que essa Copa é mais para rico. Porque, pô, pobre não tem condições de ver um jogo. Então, você vê que o povo não tá nem tão animado, que você não vê desenho na parede, não vê aquela bandeirinha como era antigamente, tudo enfeitado. Quer botar a Copa, o Brasil é um país da sede. Mas, e as pessoas que estão aí passando fome? Isso daí, esse relato eu não vejo, os hospitais. No dia a mulher, como passou na televisão, grávida, teve filho na rua, o PP que mesmo foi socorrer, no meio do chão. Uma coisa que, pô, não pode isso acontecer. O Brasil não pode, como um país desse grande, como diz, fazer a Copa, não pode deixar as coisas dessas acontecer.
Instead of investing in basic infrastructure like plumbing and hospitals, it seems like the only money the government is spending in the favelas is on cameras to monitor the poor and make sure they don't break the law. So how do you guys feel with cameras being put up everywhere?
Cara, aqui as pessoas têm uma opinião mais ou menos dividida. Tem pessoas que não ligam, estão nem aí. Tem pessoas que sentem sua privacidade invadida. Quando é em benefício dos policiais da UPP, pode ser que sirva para alguma coisa. Agora, se o morador precisar de uma prova, de uma covardia, como já tomei dura em frente à câmera, assim, se eu quisesse essas imagens para provar que os polícias fizeram mal a mim, eles não dariam, entendeu? Um exemplo, essa aqui, as pessoas muitos não gostam de ser monitorado por câmera. Essa aqui, por exemplo, está quebrada. Olha lá.
We wondered who was actually watching all these cameras. So we went with Matthias to find out what was behind all this Big Brother-style monitoring.
We are going to the CICC with the Central Command Center for Rio. Is where they have all the cameras that monitor everything. And they have all the agencies there, the military police, the civil police, the federal police. I hope to get impressed, but at the same time, I hope not to get impressed, because if I get impressed, that means they're really watching us, and that's not cool. I can't understand what this bitch is talking. What the fuck do you want me to go? I hate this fucking GPS, man.
Driving around Rio with Matthias is always an adventure. If we're not getting lost, we're running out of fuel, or both.
Yeah, fuck.
Are we running out of fuel?
Yeah. I just hope we don't get out of fuel in the parking lot of that shit.
Next door to a circus school, the Command and Control Center is a brand new real-time intelligence and surveillance facility built for the World Cup. It cost the government almost $50 million to complete and is the central hub for all surveillance throughout the city. Few of Rio's residents know this facility even exists. It's so new that getting to its parking lot means an axle-braking drive over the sidewalk.
Ok, beleza. É assim mesmo?
So what just happened, Matthias? They asked us
to drive over the sidewalk to get into the parking lot. You're not supposed to do that shit, right? But okay, they're the government, so okay. I hope mom's car didn't get hurt.
The Command and Control Center is part of an ambitious plan to harness the power of big data and is headed by officials from the military police. Our first stop, the server room.
É o coração do centro. Todos os servidores, equipamentos estão instalados aqui. Memória de armazenamento, nós temos 98 terabytes, isso eu sei, e estamos colocando mais 130 terabytes na outra sala que o governo federal está disponibilizando.
The Command and Control Center was built up to deal with the World Cup and the 2016 Olympics, but it's also provided the government a powerful new tool to watch over the most troublesome favelas, which surround the World Cup stadium.
Essas câmeras que tem nas UPPs também estão linkadas?
São todas visualizadas aqui. O complexo do Alemão, a gente visualiza as câmeras dele aqui. As câmeras de segurança chegam aqui. Se um turista que veio para a Copa do Mundo, ele ligar no telefone emergencial, os dados da solicitação dele são transferidos para os policiais ou para os nossos representantes de cada instituição para despachar o recurso necessário para o atendimento. Tá? Recebemos aqui as imagens dos helicópteros das polícias. Então, numa situação, por exemplo, manifestação, ó, o helicóptero está com a imagem em cima da manifestação, nós conseguimos visualizar aqui em tempo real.
Quantos desses telões vão mostrar os jogos do Brasil?
Aqui? Nenhum.
Nenhum? Não acredito. Ninguém vai ver o jogo?
Batatinha.
No mundo todo.
Radinho, né? Vai ter que...
The center is part of a larger plan to keep tabs on protests. In a move that's been met with widespread popular resistance, the Brazilian government has tried to pass a new anti-terror law that would make protests illegal. The law would allow 15 to 30-year sentences for people inciting civil unrest. Like many Latin American countries, Brazil has no anti-terror legislation because such laws were heavily abused during the military dictatorship, which ended less than 20 years ago. Brazilians refuse to let the military regain control of the country. More and more citizens are now taking their anger into the streets. Rio's favelas may now be under police control, but little has changed for residents. Criminal gangs may be temporarily silenced, but now some police have taken their place, skimming money and enforcing their right to do so. Some police are now shaking down businesses here, from the providers of basic services like healthcare, water, and electricity, to the owners of food stands, bars, and nightclubs like this, in the southern Rio slum known as Favela Vidigal.
South side of Rio, which is a bit wealthier. And since the pacification of the favelas, gentrification has started happening here. Now these street parties, they were free. So the poor people would always come and party, and the rich people were welcome because they'd buy drugs. But now that you gotta pay to come into these clubs, the wealthy people are here, but the poor people have been left out.
It's not just getting into the club that now costs more, but prices are soaring on necessities like food, transportation, rent, and what hits hardest for Brazilians, the cost of football matches. We went to see how this plays out in Rio's newly refurbished Maracana Stadium. The match was between two of Rio's oldest teams, Flamengo and Fluminense.
Flamengo-Fluminense match. Flamengo is the biggest team in Brazil, so lower class people know, and while Fluminense, the other team, is totally upper class. After the Fluminense made the second goal, they started chanting silence in the favela, silence in the favela. They're telling that people shut up.
You've got the rich people actually saying shut up poor people.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Do you think any of these people are going to make it to the World Cup, or do you think it'll be too expensive?
Probably going to be expensive. The tickets are like $500 up, you know?
Not only can most not afford to attend the games, but Brazilian vendors can't even profit from all of the money that's coming in from tourists. To accommodate FIFA's requests, Brazil overturned a decade-long ban on beer sales inside stadiums, while at the same time banning beer sales within a 2-kilometer radius from where the games are being held, further shutting out working-class Brazilians who make their living selling beer outside the matches.
All the government propaganda about the World Cup was, you're going to bring lots of money and jobs to the country, but as it approach, we are seeing that's quite different. They don't this all their fucking lives, you know, selling beer outside here. And when there's gonna be the hugest games here, they won't be allowed. They will be like 2 kilometers for there, probably selling beer for the protesters.
Eu tenho um amigo meu que ele é dono, é comerciante de um bar de frente pro Maracanã. O cara investiu dinheiro na Copa e agora o cara tomou um prejuízo aí, ó, de mais de R$1.000. E não pode vender cerveja na Copa? Por que não? Copa porra nenhuma, fuck you FIFA!
Fuck you, FIFA. That's what they're saying here, in this sprawling encampment in Sao Paulo, not far from one of the gleaming new World Cup stadiums. So right now, we're at the People's Cup camp. It's a huge camp of over 4,000 families that are here protesting, and we're going to be showed around by an organizer, Edmilson. He's going to take us into the camp.
América tá aqui.
E hoje esse estádio está reedificando isso aqui, ó, né? O pessoal tentando ter sua casa, lutando com os atos, né? Falando que nosso...
Well, we stopped here in the middle of the camp. We've got a fire going, so we're going to ask the locals here what they think about the World Cup.
Copa no mundo, aí aluguel aumenta, a dificuldade vem, educação zero, né? Porque tudo que eles estão gastando milhões nesses estádios, eles poderiam dar uma moradia, uma educação. Porque se você for para outro país, para lá, a Copa sim, já está pronto para turismo, mas o nosso Brasil não está para ter uma sede de uma Copa do jeito que está acontecendo.
But the government is determined to show Brazil is ready and able to host the games, and will use any necessary force to make sure things go according to plan.
Então hoje nós temos aqui um treinamento de controle de distúrbios civis que foi ofertado pelo FBI, a polícia de Chicago e a polícia de Los Angeles. O pessoal que vai atuar nos grandes eventos do Rio de Janeiro.
This exercise shows how they would remove a single protester, but there will most likely be tens of thousands, with teachers, security guards, bus drivers, trash collectors, and even police themselves, threatening to strike and shut down Brazil's cities during the tournament.
Dança, Dilma, dança até o chão, que na Copa da FIFA vai ter manifestação. Dança, Dilma, dança até o chão, que na Copa da FIFA vai ter manifestação. A FIFA vai cair! A FIFA vai cair! Vai cair! Vai cair! A FIFA vai cair! Vai cair! Vai cair! A FIFA vai cair! Da Copa eu abro mão. Eu quero mais dinheiro pra saúde e educação.
The competition to host the World Cup is often as hard-fought as the tournament itself. That's because the chosen host gets a chance to show off to the world what it's capable of. The Brazilian government has seized the opportunity to show that it's arrived as a top global economic power. But it's not just the government that gets a chance to tell its story. The people do too, including those who don't typically get a voice at home, let alone abroad.
O que a gente espera para a Copa é que a população volte às ruas e que não só com a cara tapada, independente de estar com máscara ou não, usando a tática ou não. A gente não é um grupo, a gente é manifestante, é militante e a gente só está reivindicando direitos básicos da população.